After the Anaheim Ducks selected Leo Carlsson with the second overall pick in this year's draft and getting ready to sign their big free agents in Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras, they hit a massive bump in the road. This report came out from Frank Cervalli yesterday. John Gibson has asked for a trade, he said. I am not playing for another game for the Anaheim Ducks. Kind of similar to a Patrick Waugh situation on our hands here. Not to the extent. But one thing to note about this whole ordeal is that the agency that is John Gibson assigned to came out and said that this is completely false. It's a very inaccurate report, and all these statements are false. That it's just bad that this is coming out. It's no, this never happened. And he's saying that Frank Cervalli just didn't reach out to Kurt Overhart or John Gibson. Kurt Overhart being the agent who is covering John Gibson, as well as teammate Troy Terry. So that's kind of an interesting situation there with the Anaheim Ducks. But he's basically just saying in this this statement here, if you want to read that, pause and read it, that it's just, this did not happen. In no way did it even come out, and then there was no reaching out to him to actually get this statement. So you kind of wonder where this came from. But Frank Cervalli also tweeted this in response to that tweet. Hey Kurt, do you remember the last time you attempted to claim my report was false? All the best. And he tweeted out that David Ludwig, right there, you can see, it's kind of small, I know, but it's just saying that he's going to sign with the Anaheim Ducks, or the Arizona Coyotes, as director of hockey operations. And the agency also came out and said that one was false. And then later on, he did actually end up signing with the Arizona Coyotes. So, this kind of is just a little weird situation here. I don't think Frank Cervalli would have responded in that way to that tweet if he didn't actually have his sources and it was false information. I don't think he would tweet it at all if it was false information. So it's kind of an interesting thing there. Yeah. It could just be the agency trying to cover themselves, saying, yeah, no, this didn't happen. He didn't say this, just to get some new agents, because you don't want to ruin your name with that. But if this is true and John Gibson really requests a trade, what a story we're going to have on our hands here. Noah, what do you think about the, when you've seen this yesterday? This came out yesterday as well, by the way. What did you think of the tweet when you seen it? Just your immediate thoughts.
Well, I knew John Gibson. Well, I'll say I predicted John Gibson wasn't going to play another game for the Ducks anyway, but this just got a little bit more interesting. Frank Cervalli is probably one of the most reliable guys on Twitter in terms of breaking hockey news and breaking stuff around the league. So I'm on Frank Cervalli's side here. Like you said, he's been the senior vice president or the vice president of the Professional Hockey Writers Association. So I think I'm on his side all the way here.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got many sources other than just the agent and the player. It could be another player on the team said something that John Gibson told them that, and it got to Frank Cervalli. You never know, but I don't think Frank Cervalli would have said this if this was not true. But on the goalie side of this is huge news for the rest of the NHL if they're looking for a goalie, because as we know, the goalie market is nothing easy to go around or work around and get an elite goalie at a price like John Gibson at $6.4 million for the next 4 more years, because he signed an $8 million deal and there's 4 left on that. He's not been very good recently, and we will say that with no hesitation. You can see there since about 2020, it's just been really, really bad for him on the Anaheim Ducks. Now, I also am going to say the Anaheim Ducks defense has been it's been a sieve. There's holes everywhere in it. There's no trouble getting the net, getting on John Gibson. And we can see last year he had very, very many 50 save performances, 40 save performances. He played well, or as good as he could, I would say, with that defense, but it's really bad. The Anaheim Ducks are working their way up, but this could be a huge bump in the road if John Gibson says he's no longer playing another game. They got Lucas Nostal, who's coming up, but I don't think he's ready to take the reins yet as the starting goalie for this team, who seem to get a lot better in free agency for as much as they could right at this point. Not going for it yet, not being a playoff team yet, but having the second overall pick and then heading to free agency, building your team up for the offseason, it's been pretty good so far. But we're going to compare this, I want to compare this to some other goalies who you could see in the trade market in this offseason. We know we've had the name Connor Hellebuck swirling around since the Stanley Cup Finals have been over. He got 1 year left on his contract, but the thing about him, he's on an expiring deal at $6 million, but he's been wanting, rumors reported, $9+ million. That's an absolutely absurd contract for a goalie of his stature. He definitely deserves it, but it's just very hard for a team that odds are he's going to go to a contender. It's very hard for a contender to want to pay him that. So you can see where John Gibson's name may rise up the rankings a bit with Connor Hellebuck being there. But Noah, what do you think about his comparison to Connor Hellebuck and even a guy like Carter Hart, who during this season was on the trading block, or rumored to be on the trading block for the Philadelphia Flyers?
I think you're gonna see Gibson traded first. I mean, solely because he has term left on his deal, right? You said it's another
4 years. Yeah.
4 years at 6.4.
Yeah.
That's a steal of a contract. I'm gonna yeah, I might get some hate for this in the comments. I might get some flack. I still think John Gibson is a fantastic goalie, and I think he's borderline top 10. You touched on the defense and you touched on where Anaheim is as a team. But if you just look at his stats in his early career, I don't know if you want to throw it up there. Like those stats are elite. Like 31 wins, 25 wins. Like with a 924 and a 926 save percentage. That's an elite level goalie. I stand by that. So I think you're going to see John Gibson get traded much sooner. I look at a team like New Jersey, which I think Kirk's going to talk a little bit about a little bit more. I would have said the Senators, but they just got Jonas Corposalo, so maybe they still might work something out. And I'm going to throw another one here: the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their goaltending is a little bit in question with Ilya Samsonov's an RFA. Matt Murray hasn't really performed the way they wanted him to come in and play. So it's up in arms. But I think John Gibson is the first goalie traded in the offseason.
Yeah, I do like the idea of that being the first goalie gone. Term is very important at the price he's at. 6.4 for 4 years is very good for a team who's looking to contend. Like you said, the New Jersey Devils and Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs would be a good location. You remember they got Freddie Anderson from the Anaheim Ducks. Seeing another Ducks goalie to the Maple Leafs, maybe you could see that happen. But it is like a very important part, like you said, to take it into factor his early years with the Anaheim Ducks when they were still slightly contenders. They weren't in a rebuild mode yet. And with the defense that he had, it wasn't fantastic, it wasn't spectacular, it wasn't the best defense in the league, nothing, but it was good, and it showed that his numbers were even better with a better defense. You can't just leave him out to dry for the entire season, which he was, frankly. We can't, we won't say that he was not, because he absolutely was. The Anaheim Ducks were horrible on defense. But I do like the idea of John Gibson being traded first, or one of the first goalies. The term's important. But like you said, I got some teams here as well that you had. I have the New Jersey Devils as well. I also have the Buffalo Sabres. Devin Levi, that would be a good mentor for him. They also have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who, maybe could go back in a return for a trade. You never see where they're going to go. They have a lot of goalies and some good guys who can be some big trade bait in this offseason. As well as I also have the Edmonton Oilers. It'd be a good contract for a goalie. I can't really see a Pacific trade in interdivisional, but if it does happen to go some way where the Edmonton Oilers get him, I think this could be an Edmonton Oilers team going to the finals and potentially winning it, because that's a good goalie with a good defense, fantastic forwards as well on that team. That I think that will be the final piece of that puzzle if it really does come down to what it is. But like you can see here, I'll pull this up again. He does have a no move clause though, or no trade clause, excuse me. So we don't know the teams that it would be. There might be a team on it, like you said. Maybe the Buffalo Sabres when this was written, because it was in 2021, 2022. So, Buffalo weren't exactly there where they are yet. But we'll have to see. We're going to see where this goes. This rumor, or these reports might all be false. We don't really know what's going to happen yet. But I do believe that John Gibson will be traded this offseason. More than likely, Anaheim, they're in a bit of a weird spot still. They got some excellent guys, but they're just not there yet. They still need a lot of pieces to get this whole thing going. Leo Carlson's a huge addition. But this could be a serious problem for the Anaheim Ducks if John Gibson will be leaving this offseason. He's a crucial piece to what their success would have been, and this will definitely take them a few steps back that they're going to have to work through. But if you want to let us know in the comments what you think about this, please do. I'm very curious to see if any Anaheim Ducks fans got any ideas about what could happen, what they want to do, what they're looking to do. If they don't want John Gibson, they don't want John Gibson. So if you want to see more content from us, that's all we got for this video. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to see if you want to come for the rest of the offseason. We have a lot of stuff coming, a lot of exciting stuff coming. The offseason's only started. Lots of big stuff coming left. We got some big free agents as well. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see it. Make sure to like the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good night.